of gallons of oil has increased the toxicity of the Gulf, and it's going to have a significant impact on human health and marine health. We have been tracking the work of Hugh Kaufman, who is with the EPA, who's been an outspoken critic of the dispersants, and we've also been tracking the work of Congressman Nadler and others who've been raising concerns. Now, recently, the EPA expressed some concerns itself, but those concerns come a little too late. Already there are all these dispersants in the Gulf, and the fact is that the dispersants have made it very difficult for oil to be skimmed from the surface, and we've seen reports from scientists in Florida that the dispersants have resulted in oil dropping to the floor of the ocean, to critical marine beds for future marine life in massive plumes on the sea of the ocean, which are would be incredibly difficult for humans to clean up.
Interestingly, a new scientific study claiming that oil-eating microbes have drastically reduced the amount of oil from the BP well blowout in the Gulf. This news recently came in. Researchers at California's Lawrence Berkeley National Lab say the microbes appear to have multiplied in number and increased their metabolic capacity to eat up much of the oil spilled in the Gulf. The findings contradict several recent studies showing much of the oil remains in the Gulf, but they would bolster the Obama administration's controversial assertions that much of the oil has in fact disappeared. Now, the Lawrence Berkeley National Lab has extensive ties to both BP and the U.S. government. In 2007, the lab received the bulk of the controversial $500 million science grant from BP that went to the University of California. The Lawrence Berkeley Lab's director at the time was Stephen Chu, who now heads the Department of Energy, which also partially funds the lab. Lisa Graves.
Yes, so this is another instance of corporate influence on science in our view. And in fact, while there are some reports, as you mentioned, that the oil-consuming microbes have increased, there's no indication of what the net effect of that is going to be on marine life, because other marine animals then do eat those microbes. It's a part of the chain of life in the Gulf, and we have yet to see the result of all this oil and the oil-consuming microbes on our seafood. And so far, the EPA has not agreed to conduct the type of extensive testing that we and others have recommended to ensure that the food that is produced by the Gulf, that there's adequate seafood safety for human consumption. They haven't been testing, we think, adequately enough.
Lisa, a few minutes ago, you mentioned this whole phenomenon of greenwashing, and I've been astounded in the last few months at the sheer volume of advertising, not only by BP, but by several of the other oil companies, all proclaiming in their ads to the public that their enlightened concern over the environment and how they're looking beyond petroleum and Chevron, Exxon, all of them. Could you talk about this propaganda campaign, in essence, that the oil companies are conducting among the American people?
Well, certainly the other oil companies have seen an opportunity to increase their market share in the wake of the real destruction of the BP brand, of the Beyond Petroleum logo and spin. And so we've been sort of astonished ourselves to see how much money is being put into advertising by other oil companies trying to tell the American people that they're really good for the environment, when the fact is that most of these companies have records similar to BP's in terms of accidents, poor safety records, and certainly during the Bush administration and into the beginning of this administration, the government regulatory body that was charged with safety for oil drilling was basically captured by industry. So these industries have learned that a little bit of money goes a long way, a little bit of advertising goes a long way. As soon as the BP spill struck and I was writing about it, some of my friends said, no, that's the good oil company. You shouldn't attack BP. They're the best of the worst, I suppose. But the fact is that BP wasn't the best of the worst. It had a terrible safety record, and its advertising helped convince the American people, along with its pretty green flower symbol, that it was one of the good guys, when in fact it wasn't. It's given some money to alternative energy, but the bulk of its money has been in deep-sea oil drilling, shallow oil drilling, and really not maintaining its safety protocols adequately at all. So the other oil companies have seized on this greenwashing example. They think that it's going to pay off. I hope the American consumers, after seeing how BP spun them, will be wary of the spinning by the other oil companies.
Lisa Graves, finally, on a different issue, since we're speaking to you in Madison, Wisconsin. You've been looking into a new right-wing group, American Action Network, that has has entered the 2010 election with ads attacking Wisconsin Senator Russ Feingold. Can you tell us about what's going on?
Sure. American Action Network is a new group, a new sort of right-wing group that is running ads against Senator Feingold and others. It's a group that is funded by multimillionaires, although, of course, they don't call themselves multimillionaires against Russ Feingold or against any of the other politicians that they're running ads against. They call themselves a fancy sort of front group name, Americans for this or that. This is the common thing that we see with front groups. Their leaders include the 347th richest man in America, Frank Langone, who helped found Home Depot and is involved in Choice Point. Choice Point was involved in the Florida election, getting people off the rolls who shouldn't have been kicked off the rolls in Florida. It's led also by C. Boyd and Gray, who's been involved in a number of right-wing front groups that have been running attack ads in a whole host of areas. And it's got other people on its board whose basically trademark is big business over ordinary people. So, for example, one of the people who is in charge of this organization is one of the former leaders of Goldman Sachs, the people who brought us the failed economy, who produced the terrible securities, basically betting against their own customers and helping to crash our economy. So these guys, with their new front group name, are running ads, and hopefully they're not duping Americans, but those sorts of ads, attack ads, have proven effective, unfortunately, in our electoral cycle.
Lisa Graves, I want to thank you for being with us, Executive Director of the Center for Media and Democracy. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. When we come back, we'll be joined by Arianna Huffington. Stay with us.
It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under. Broken glass everywhere. People on the stage, you know they just don't care. I can't take the smell, can't take the noise. Got no money to move out, I guess I got no choice. Rats in the front room, roaches in the back, junkies in the alley with the baseball bat. I tried to get away, but I couldn't get far, cause a man with a tow truck repossessed my car. Don't push me, cause I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under. She went to the city and got so did it. She had to get a pimp, she couldn't make it on her own. Don't push me, cause I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under. My brother's doing bad, stole my mother's TV. Says she watches too much, it's just not healthy. All my children in the daytime, Dallas at night. Can't even see the game or the sugar.
Grandmaster Flash, The Message, here on Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. We're broadcasting on over 850 stations on Pacifica and NPR, and low-power FM college and community radio stations on public access TV and PBS TV stations, and both TV satellite networks on Dish Network Channel 9415 Free Speech TV, 9410 Link TV, and on DirecTV Channel 375. And we're video and audio podcasting at democracynow.org. Our headlines are also available in Spanish for any radio station to take as over 250 are. I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez.